Welcome back to the channel, Outriders. This is another legendary showcase, the Anemoi, I don't know how to pronounce it, but apparently it's a cluster of Greek gods back in the day, Greek wind gods. And we have the Moaning Winds perk, which is a very promising option, but it builds around reloading. And in a game where everybody wants to keep permanent uptime, where does this bad boy fit? So I'm going to go together and put together some ideas where I think it's solid. The gun itself isn't very bad, honestly. But unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of certain shotguns in this game, and this one doesn't really hit that spot for me, personally. But it might have an area. At least the mod might. Now, the gun itself doesn't seem very strong because you have a lot of capacity, and obviously, the more you're reloading, the more you're keeping that up. So this gun seems to fit into builds built around anomaly power or healing or tanking or something along the lines of that. Not necessarily a traditional DPS option because, again, realistically, you're trying to keep your damage up. Firepower is useful, but fortunately, this doesn't have to proc on any sort of kills or shots or criticals or anything. This perk and mod activates on reload. So all you got to do is use the gun and reload, and it starts putting out some pretty hefty damage. It's one of the strongest mods out there that does a lot of damage without any firepower or anomaly necessary. It just does a lot, but it's also based around you, so you need to be close up inside of the dangerous areas. You need to be close to enemies, which is why I'm thinking this might be great for a gun or an option for somebody that's using a melee build or a very tanky Devastator build. Some sort of survival build could really utilize this mod. Maybe not even on this gun in general, but clearly, because it works around yourself and it activates based on reload, you're probably going to want to put it on something that frequently reloads, like maybe one-shot rifles, shotguns, maybe low-capacity SMGs could really benefit from something like this. And it seems to be shaped and orchestrated to service you and really come in handy against, again, not DPS builds, not firepower builds, but more so anomaly or survival builds. And I feel like it's got some interesting potential. There's some ideas that I definitely haven't thought of. If you have any whatsoever, how would you use this? A reload perk that puts a storm around you that does a lot of damage when you reload, right? And unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay to put that together because I don't really have anything like that. You're just seeing what the strength of this gun can do in a natural firepower build, which is pretty decent on its own, but at this point, it's just a glorified shotgun, and it just happens to do okay at killing. Again, it's not phenomenal. It's not as good as a lot of other auto shotguns. And hell, there's a pump action that I think is better than this. But that being said, I think it does open the door for some interesting combinations for other types of builds. And it's honestly just a bunch of theory crafting, guessing, and experimenting. And I think this perk could be great accompanied with something like the Comet perk or something that activates on the shots. I mean, this could be something really huge DPS build for an in-your-face option. And I want to experiment with it, and I'm going to in the future when I have another anomaly build put together for my Pyro or for my Devastator. So I think this opens up some options for people that may not have thought about it. But again, because it isn't in your face and it's around your body, you got to be up in front. So close range damage, crit hit isn't necessary, firepower is not necessary, but close range could definitely make a difference for it depending on what you apply this mod to. But the gun itself, I think, is worth a dismantle. I don't think it's worth using, but the mod could have a place in the meta. So thank you guys for watching the video. This is my breakdown on the gun that I simply cannot pronounce. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks again for all the love and support. If you guys haven't subscribed, tick that bell, subscribe, and check out some other legendary showcases on the channel. There's a playlist down in the description below for you. And thank you yet again. Enjoy, and happy hunting.